So good morning. I am Pam Ross. I am right now in 2 seats with the Central Indiana Community Foundation. I joined the foundation about a year and a half ago as a community investment officer. And as of Monday, I will take a seat as the vice president of our opportunity, equity, and inclusion work. And so I think as I sit here, does everything? I'm glad you're here. I guess first of all, not really knowing the audience, are people familiar with the Central Indiana Community Foundation, CICF? Okay. So we, have been an amazing resource, I think, to the community for many years. And I will speak basically from 2 perspectives. I think I'll start with just me as a person. So I have, this is a new place for me in as being a part of a funding resource. I have had over 25 years of being in community-based organizations and primarily working with youth. So everything from foster care system to youth development to social enterprises. But I have a lot of love, respect, and passion for young people. So when M asked me to do this, which of course it was, how do you say no to M? I felt like that was going to be a detriment to our relationship moving forward. But I do need to be taught. I'm new to the relationship. So I felt like I needed to, yes, absolutely say yes. But I do, also love KI. And so, but youth are very important to me. They always have been. I have 3 children. I'm from the Indianapolis area. My children are grown. I have 7 grandchildren. But I moved away from Indianapolis. My last position in youth work was with the Center for Leadership Development. I was there for 4 years, left about 3 years ago. Mariah comes from that great programming. Well, she was already great anyway. I won't do that, everything. But there, I was the senior director of programs, so everything that Center for Leadership was doing at the time, and then a lot of the growth that also came out of from me being there with a wonderful team, put me in a position where I felt like, okay, now it's time for me to leave Indianapolis. I've been trying. I do love Indianapolis, but I really wanted to be someplace where it does not look like this. So I went to Phoenix, and lo and behold, I was brought back again, specifically for this position. And so you would think, I often have to tell people that you would think that 3 wonderful children who are married and have 7, and then I have 7 grandchildren, that would have been why I came back. But really, I came back, I had to really think about it. But before I even applied for this position, I came back for equity. I came back because I know from being in community-based organizations, there are not enough people at the table who look like me, who are making decisions, who are having conversations, and who are including people at the table. So I'm taking that seat at the time as a program officer. That's basically, what a community investment officer is. And it had always been a part of my career path. I just didn't think that it would take me back to Indianapolis. It's been great because I am from Indianapolis and I know the organizations, and when we're having conversations, I can engage versus, let's say, if I was in New York. I don't know New York as well, so I'd have a lot of learning there. But I already was on an equity path. So I already was saying that I in this seat, I will work under the umbrella of CICF and what our initiatives are, but I will also make sure that I am doing my own work as a grown Black woman in a seat that is often not held by people of color. And so really that takes us to this place, which is how then I began to have this wonderful relationship with KI. There has not been a past relationship, at least from a standpoint of where we are now is very much like, we know that we need KI in this work. We know that we cannot say we're doing equity work and we're not connecting to organizations that are already very much in that space, as well as organizations who are in the neighborhood, so more grassroots organizations. We have to get to a level of where we are actually talking to the people who we are saying we're investing in. And that's not to say that CICF has not done a very good job. Whilst it has done a good job, but we want to be in a place where the community, all communities, can say that we're doing a very good job. And so where we are now is our leader, our president, Brian Payne, has for the past few years, but definitely in this past year, we have in the process of creating or finalizing our next 5-year strategic plan, which is focused on making sure that we are providing opportunity, creating access, equitable, an equitable environment, that's okay, for everyone, regardless of their place, their race, or their identity. And in doing that, that means that we'll be shifting some things around as it relates to resources and relationships and the way that we talk about the work that we do and all those kinds of things. And it was so set up so well for me to have anything to say, definitely by Ellie. But Diop just totally talked about everything that we want to do. He set the place and the tone. There's nothing else that I could really add to as it relates to the work that we're doing, because Diop has already explained why it's important, what it is that we're trying to do, and even more importantly, that we're going to make mistakes. Because this is hard work. This is not, there's not, other than Lumina, locally, there's not a lot of calling out issues of race and inequitable circumstances. Oftentimes we want to call it other things versus just saying systematically there's some things that are wrong. And we have to have hard conversations about it. And we need to all be willing to get into it. And we need to be willing to say that, yes, we are going to make some mistakes. So Brian, if you've ever heard him speak of it, and you'll hear more, he's very transparent, which makes it much easier, I would say, especially for me, to be in this first time being in a position and being out speaking and knowing that Brian is speaking, we're speaking the same language, and he's really leading the effort, and he's very committed to it. So finally, I'll say that our pillars right now that we're working under, in the past they have been college readiness and success, family success, and inspiring places. So although we don't have everything that we can right now at this moment say to you, this is how this is going to look when it comes to donors or investments in the community, grant making, we can say that we have, through our board, decided that our 3 pillars now will be changing systems, empowering people, and dismantling institutional racism. And so within each of those 3, we're recognizing that if we don't start looking at the systems, then we're not really doing the work that is going to really change what we're saying we want to see, especially from a standpoint of community resilience. If we don't, empowering people means we have to dig deeper into the community, listen to the voices, figure out what is the best way for us to hear from the people who are actually not at the table, but should be at the table often. But even if they're not at the table, how do we know what it is that they want? Get more into supporting grassroots efforts. When you're a grassroots organization, you're trying to, create a relationship with a large foundation like CICF. We have over $800 million in assets. I think last year we funded back into the community, I believe, like $60 million. And so we are investing, but we need to make sure from a capacity standpoint that we're helping those smaller organizations reach their fullest potential also, because they're the ones that the community is trusting. They're the face that can get us further into actually creating transformation in these communities. And then dismantling racism, really truly, to just be quite honest, and this is more of a Pam, when you see Brian, don't say that Pam said this is what Brian is doing. But I do believe that in that space where we need to be most careful, because just the saying gets, oh wow, and eyebrows raised and all that, is I think the first thing is just to understand, to create an awareness and an acceptance that it still exists, that it still does exist. And how do we create that education? How do we create a platform where we can have the conversations based off of the resources and the opportunity that we have in Central Indiana to say, we care about this, and we want everybody to care about the fact that this still does exist and how it affects everybody, not just some. So, is that good enough, Em?
Yes.
All right.